Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Katrina Glogowski is an angel investor and attorney in Seattle. Together, we're going to take a look at the 7 tips to a successful investment deck while we take a look at Genetixs, their investment presentation, to see if they fit our criteria for understanding business plan goals, knowing your audience, understanding the market, identifying needs and roadblocks, knowing what sets a business apart, and introducing the team and products, as well as creating a summary. So Genetixs' mission is to build their brand of core values of customer service and care, hospitality, highest standards of quality, honesty, integrity, and community outreach, with the vision to have their brand become a trusted household name and a goal to align themselves with investors and partners who share their values. So this project is a turnkey service company for the cannabis industry. Their management team believes in a pure product that can only be achieved by pure soil, modern agricultural practices for maximum health. So this turnkey investment includes land, licenses, greenhouses, utility infrastructure, security systems, a management team, growth staff, sales staff, and a compliance officer. A turnkey investment opportunity zoned specifically for legal commercial growers and marijuana-infused products, laboratories, both recreational and medicinal.
Josh, I got to say right out of the gate, are they selling an existing business? Are they going to help me set up my business in a new state? What exactly is their product? A complete turnkey investment opportunity with a compliance officer. Okay, so how do I invest in a compliance officer? My interest is piqued.
Yes, I don't know. I can barely see it with this gray font. I wish they'd use a black font, but hopefully it gets more legible and we can see that. They talk about growing cannabis and cultivation and more cultivation. So it looks like we're going to jump into the project and vision, the startup, summary, the problems and solutions, products and services, market opportunity strategy, production and sales forecast, team management, and financials. That might cover all 7 tips if they do it well. Let's see. So financial summary, looking at the revenue and net income. They have $75,000 profits, be reinvested in the company for the second greenhouse in their 3rd year.
So are they a operational business and I'm going to invest in an operation, or are they going to come plant one down and yak them up for me? So let's see, Josh, don't have that fundamental question.
So year 1 says they're going to make $1 million. That's a nice round number. I don't know if they're already generating that revenue or if this is projections, since it says year 1 instead of 2000 or 1999 or whatever. Cash flow projections show that business will have sufficient cash to support the activity in theory.
In theory, but then they also mentioned $75,000 in profits. So what year is that?
That's pretty specific. All right, 30 states have already legalized cannabis, so they've got a map to kind of show you and entice you about, maybe FOMO. It's expanding, legalizing, regulating. So the market growth, so 38% for the medical market. Now, is this market growth for the industry or for them?
I gotta say that's the industry, Josh, because they're talking about medical and recreational. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is from ArcView Market Research. So the industry, they're looking at 38% increase in medical. Moving on to more U.S. retail sales and economic impacts, looking at being able to get their products from massage therapists, bakers, dental hygienists, telemarketers, cannabis industry, and pharmacists.
That slide of saying, again, talks about general growth in the industry as a whole and comparing employment growth, but still waiting for information about what I'm investing in, and we're on slide 16.
I'd really like to get to the specifics about what their company is instead of these projections and what ifs, and the industry is already inundated with people who aren't making money.
Right.
So differentiate yourself right off the bat. Tell how you're going to make money. So we've got a SWOT analysis pointing out the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats.
Somebody went to business school. Look at that.
That's pretty old school. Yeah.
Number one, it's old school, but it also plays to the investors who have seen this time and time again. They understand it. And while it is very old school, absolutely, it helps. It helps.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with the SWOT analysis. It's not necessarily necessary. You can do a SWOT analysis in other ways, but this is it's an old school deck or
Well, let's not forget, Josh, most of the people that are going to be investing in this company are older, probably B school graduates that have progressed through their career looking at SWOT analyses. So it's kind of maybe smart.
So their strengths, or what sets them apart, is going to be a network of cultivators, construction management team with expertise, dependable relationships. The weaknesses is going to be the reliability on products, a growing market, and the first growth cycle is going to take up to 6 months. So they haven't started growing. The opportunity is a high growth industry, and the market is underserved. So the opportunities and strengths are really like industry focused and not company focused, it seems like.
I agree with your statement, and I'm also confused if they have $75,000 in profits like we saw on an earlier slide. The first growth cycle will take 6 months. Now I'm still confused. We're too far in.
All right, startup summary. $464,000 for cultivation assets, $385,000 direct costs, $45,000 in operating costs, $32,000. Is that what's required to start up? Is this revenue? Is this cost of goods sold? Is this where the money is going to be allocated to?
I am now very confused. If anyone can operate a cannabis farm for $32,000, maybe a month, but that's your electric bill. I'm lost. I'm just lost right now.
Okay, slide 18 shows the sales forecast. So their product line is going to generate 1.8 million in year one. Cultivation cycles after year two is going to increase revenue to 2.4 million. Cash will be retained in the business to cover cash operating needs as well as future expansion to meet the demands. And after the first year of operations, it's expected that they'll be able to trim expense through realizing business efficiencies and training staff on operational industrial knowledge.
You're going to sell $1.8 million of cannabis, but your operating expenses are only $32,000. Again, I'm lost. I need more information.
All right, projected revenue year 1, 2, and 3. I'm looking at operating income, 5.5 million in year 1, 11 million in year 3. Those numbers aren't out of the ordinary. You know, if you're a decent producer processor, mid-tier, like a tier 2, less than 10,000 square feet, you should be pulling in minimum 300,000 a month in sales. So, you know, that's almost 4 million a year. From a mid-tier producer processor in Washington State, where we have way too many licenses. So that's about average. So these numbers aren't, they're not out of the norm, but depending on where they're going to, do we even know where they're based out of or where they're planning on going yet after 19 slides yet?
Nope.
So we have no idea what the market is. If they tried to do this in Washington today, they would never even get off the ground.
Correct.
Or any other regulated market, whether it's Nevada or Illinois or Washington, Oregon, Alaska, you name it, Colorado. These numbers at this point in time are not realistic, in my opinion, because the prices are so low. Looking at $800 a pound outdoor, I don't know many investors who would invest in a company who's not generating revenue right now, considering that the amount of businesses that are just about to fail, their valuation of already having existing assets and licenses and products are going to be much, much cheaper since they're already in business and about to go out of business. I think a lot of investors are looking at that value opportunity from consolidation.
This slide confuses me. First of all, I still don't really understand what's going on. They still haven't explained to me, am I investing in an existing business or a business that has yet to be formed? Now, I like the financials. We just discussed the inclusion of financials is excellent. They do talk about projected financials, but this concerns me about one of the items on our list is knowing your market. Here, just focusing on year one, they're going to have a 55% gross profit. No, you're not. That is just not true, because with the taxation, the regulation, if you are hitting 55% gross profit, you have a miracle on your hands. It's just unheard of in the industry. Well, now you may have $12 million of revenue. You are never going to hit 55%. Then their expenses, their operating expenses, which are not explained, but you're going to have $12 million worth of revenue and only $150,000 of operating expenses. Why? The second thing, operating expenses for retail business. So wait a minute, you just spent all this time talking about this grow in your Genetixs. Are you growing or are you retailing? Again, we don't know where they are. Maybe they're in a vertically integrated state. Sales and marketing expenses. That's wonderful, $400,000. Okay, you should double that. Senior management salaries, $280,000. So that's what, one person?
Right.
IT, blank. Other, blank. So I guess you don't have a grow op, you don't have a tissue culturist, you don't have any of the typical things that you would need. Where's your trimmer? Where's your packager? I just question that. And maybe that, quite frankly, Josh, is how they get to such a high revenue. They think, oh, hey, we got three guys on staff and we can go ahead and run this company. I just really, really question these financials. And I fundamentally question the knowledge of the person that did these financials.
I get decks out of Africa and Eastern Europe, and this reminds me of one of those, of somebody with pie in the sky numbers and optimism who haven't really looked at the Petri dish experiment in Washington and the debacle in Oregon, from vape to concentrates to, lounges, you name it, the regulatory issues. It screams novice to me. It could be done better, and maybe they are experts, but it's not coming across that way. So while it's not personal, this is a decent deck. If I saw this in 2015, this would be phenomenal. This deck is really, really well put together for circa 2015. Yeah. Take this deck and go to France with it, because they're like in 2014 by comparison, and they don't care whether or not you're making money. But if you're not making money, this deck has no purpose hitting the West Coast. And if you think you have 55% margins outside of CBL, I don't think you're going to hit 55% margins unless you're doing wholesale cannabinoids that are rare. CBD, THC, absolutely not. This is a commodity. This is agriculture. What farmer do you know who's pulling in 55% profit margins?
Not Nobody. A single one.
Nobody. All right, projected cash flow. We can kind of skip through these because I think we've murdered them pretty well on the numbers of, a hypothesis of what they guess or think is going to happen. I like the ratio analysis, though. You never, or I should say rarely see, return on equity, return on assets, asset turnover. I like this. Again, very well put together for an idea, but as a business, I think they're late to the game.
Somebody went to business school, put this together, and it shows. It shows. And this screams, I'm a business person that knows nothing about cannabis. Doesn't mean they can't learn, but...
Or they're taking advantage of an opportunity and trying to find a novice investor who doesn't know cannabis.
Right.
One of the two. Return on investment, 1.5 million. Long-term debt balance, 464,000. And then that's the end of it. That's after 22 slides. There's not even an ask.
Unless they're asking for $464,000 and 22-page deck.
Dude,
I don't even know what their product is. Do they want me to invest in their farm, or are they selling me a turnkey solution to drop a new farm in a new state? I'm confused. I'm confused.
Did they identify their goal? Their goal, I think, is to sell licenses, but I don't know where they are, and I don't know what they're for, and I don't know what it includes. So I know that they're looking for money, but I don't know if there's an actual goal.
I don't even know what their business plan is. I don't know what their product
They
is.
say they have a turnkey service company, and then that's it. So they have like land and licenses and greenhouse and all of these things for sale, I guess. Turnkey investment opportunity. Where is it? What do I get? What does it include?
No.
Yeah, I'm not even going to give them that. Sorry. Do they know their audience?
Who's their audience? An investor? They definitely had some solid investor-focused things in their pitch deck, like the ratio returns, like the ROIs, with the SWOT analysis. Is their audience anything related to do with cannabis? I really walked away from this thinking they don't know anything about cannabis. Certainly not the cannabis markets. So, no.
Okay. I think they know the investment audience. Can we give them a quarter point?
Okay. Just for the SWOT analysis.
Understanding the market.
No.
I think I'd give them another quarter point because they know enough to throw together a company that doesn't exist and try and sell it.
Okay. Another quarter point.
This is charity at this point.
They use the right words, right, like cannabis.
Identify needs and roadblocks. I'd say the SWOT analysis, although it wasn't great, I think it does kind of fulfill that requirement. Do we know what sets them apart?
Their turnkey cannabis business opportunity.
Seriously. I'm not sure I know what sets them apart because I'm not even sure I know what it is that they're trying to do. Damn. All right, they did it. They didn't introduce the team, did they?
They failed to introduce the team, and they didn't even really introduce the product.
Oh, no.
There was one slide about this cannabis turnkey opportunity, but again, I still are they operational and they want me to invest in their operation, or is this a turnkey opportunity that, because we've seen that where people come set up your farm, is that what they're doing? I'm struggling, Josh. I'm struggling.
And there was no summary. So while this might be the lowest scoring deck we've ever done on this podcast at 0.5 point, it's really 0 out of 7 if we're going to be real about it. I think that there's been worse decks that have received more points. They fulfilled the requirements that we had, but it still wasn't a great deck, or wasn't a good company, or wasn't a product worth investing in. Whereas this deck is, I think, well put together for circa 2014. It's just not it's a wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time.
Agreed. There were elements in here that I liked. I liked real financials. I liked the SWOT analysis. I liked the ratio returns. There was information in there that I liked. I just didn't like the content of that information. And I think individuals watching this podcast can take away some things here. And there is some redeeming qualities. They also had really nice pictures. That's nice. But other than that, I'll give them 0.5 point for their name, Genetixs. I like Genetixs.
Yeah, change the font from gray to black so it's easier to read, and then just a couple of changes, I suppose, or just switch your focus from West Coast U.S. to the European market or Asian market. I'm just not convinced that this is the right time right now, considering, like I mentioned before, there's companies going out of business that are going to be incredible values that are already operating, that already have equipment, that are going to be pennies on the dollar. I just don't see the need for people at this point in time to jump in the game brand new and risk. Like they mentioned, their first year harvest is going to be, maybe half or 60% of full capacity. And so why even mess around with that when you could go into a farm that's been cultivating for 5 years, who's already figured that out?
Yeah.
Take this deck to Europe. I think you'll do really well. I think the timing is way off for the US. If you have licenses, if you have intellectual property, if you have trademarks or some patents, whatever, that's different. I'm not convinced that the timing is right. But the deck does, lay out some good things, and I think with some adjustments they could do better on our scale, or if anybody's looking at it, they can take some things away from this, as long as it's realistic numbers rather than just projections at this point in time. It's not going to go very well for investors.
Josh, I'm going to just summarize that I really like the Mason jelly jars in their photo. That is an excellent way to store commercial cannabis. Good job on them.
Smell it. With that, we're going to roll this one up. This is Katrina Glogowski. She's an angel investor and attorney in Seattle. Appreciate you being on the podcast.
Thanks, Josh.
I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't.